Daylight robbery, the missing revolution. How in the past 30 years, just in one generation, we are willingly losing our connectivity with our food, with our language, with our culture. This is not a ultra-nationalist or hyper-nationalist idea or thought process. This is about common sense. If a language is not spoken, then you lose your identity. So if my language is Tamil and if I don't practice Tamil, then what do? I speak an alien language, let it be English or Hindi or whatever. See, if I need to survive, I need some extra tool. That's a different story. If I speak a particular language, and for survival and for betterment of life, if I have to learn another language, that's a different story. But most of the children in my state, and for that matter, any state in our country, we are not obligated. There's no compulsion to learn the mother language, the mother tongue. And in many schools, particularly private schools, we are given a chance to learn an alternative language, which is comparatively easier in terms of expectation of, what you need to know to earn marks, what you need to learn to score marks. So if we give an easier option to children, the parents, they normally choose that because, they think, Tamil is a very difficult language, and for that thing, for that matter, many parents unfortunately think learning the mother tongue, be it Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi in the respective regions, they think it is quite difficult and the children must learn English to survive in the globalized world. Yeah, that may be true, but it doesn't mean that their mother tongue has to be completely ignored. This is what is happening now. Children, they don't have any incentive to learn the mother tongue. So what is happening is, if you have a language, which you speak across your state, a language which is rooted to your culture, rooted to your soil, rooted to your food, then you stay connected. This is the biggest bond, the gel that keeps people together. And if you remove that, then the place becomes one without any identity. If all the people of a particular landmass speak only English, though their food and culture, everything is not based on English, then they lose connectivity, and within one generation, many foods will disappear, many cultural elements will disappear. They will all be replaced by the food of the foreign languages, whatever languages they may be. This is a robbery. This is daylight robbery. This is happening in broad daylight in front of our eyes, and we are willing accomplices. And how do we come to terms with it? How do we let it happen willingly? In my generation, I am an example. I come from a village background. My parents were from agriculture family. But in one generation, I lost connectivity with my roots. The moment I got educated in English medium and I went out to work on a global scale. In the span of a couple of decades, my food changed, my cultural consumption, my cultural practices changed, and at some point in time, I realized that I have missed some vital elements in my life. The one good thing was I maintained a very strong connectivity with my mother tongue. I was practicing it all along. So that kind of helped me to get back to my roots, and I'm still on my way. See, by culture, I don't mean the religious practices. They are two different things. Culture is a way of life thing, and religion is a part of it, but not everything. This is where the difference come in. And the same thing, if you apply on a microcosm, you take a tribe. A tribe, as long as it has its own language, its own food, it is kind of an impenetrable force for any external forces, which want to do something with them, positive or negative. See, British occupation in India, 350 years, they couldn't teach us English. Take the example of North India. People in North India, they don't speak English in a way the people in South India do. Why? If an empire which which stayed with us for 350 years, if it failed in teaching English in 350 years, what happened in the last 70 years? I'm not talking about just language, the food. British guys wouldn't make us eat bread, even in Punjab. But in the last 50 to 70 years, look at the kind of food consumption which is becoming mainstream. Look at the kind of languages which are becoming mainstream. Look at the kind of practices which are becoming mainstream. We are losing our identity, whether you are a Tamilian, a Telugu-speaking guy, a Tulu-speaking guy, an Oryanvi, or a Gond tribal guy. We are losing our identity. Though we talk about a unifying identity like Aadhaar and this card and that card, we are losing our primary identity. We are all human beings, right? And we all have identities. But then we have layers added upon it which make us speak freely with other people. I mean, that is a voluntary thing that we acquire. But it doesn't mean that we have to lose what we were given in the first place, which came with our culture. You know, I take the example, a very classic example. You know, the kids of current generation, if you ask them what soup, they would love to have. Some of them would say tomato soup, some of them would say cream of tomato and mixed vegetable, clear vegetable, chicken soup, that, this and all. But nobody would say, I would love to have Mudakatan soup. Mudakatan is a herb, which was extensively used to alleviate many illnesses in the body. This is just a microcosm. This is just a tip of an iceberg when it comes to the food landscape. But I'm sure 90% of the children in my own state, they wouldn't have had Mudakatan soup in their lifetime, if not in the lifetime, in the past year or so. But this is the food, which is rooted in our soil. Mudakatan kirai and many other spinach varieties, which have very high nutritive value. The children of my generation, they don't even have it, they don't even know the name. All they know was red chutney, green chutney, white chutney. Yeah, probably the color of the chutney, red. If we replace it with orange, then we can boast of a hyper-nationalist India where children only eat chutneys which are derived from the color of the national flag. Is that what we are all about? Just reduced to 3 colors? Just reduced to one language? Just reduced to one kind of dress? My dear friends, why are we part of this daylight robbery? And why are we not complaining? I'm not just talking about a religion or one nation, one language, one food policy. These are all macro events. I'm talking about the micro things, in day-to-day life. Why are we not embracing our own food, the food of the soil? Why are we not embracing our own language, which originally gave us the identity of Tamil or a Hindi or a Bihari or a Marathi person? These are not just symbols. These are the roots of what we are, who we are, how we are, and how we behave, right? So if we start replacing all these basic elements by what the global life demands, we are losing ourselves. So, we may achieve high material success, we may reach great places, and then when we introduce ourselves, at some point in time when we introduce ourselves as a proud winner, how do we introduce? What do we call ourselves? Just think about this, my dear friend. This is a very profound question, the vital link which is missing in helping us really grow. The solution, the answer lies beneath our feet and around us. We just have to open our eyes and senses and embrace it. Shall we do that? Thanks for listening. This is your RJ Babuji Janakarajan. This is the Great Indian Monologue latest episode. And how I wish I have the capability to talk to you in your local languages, so that I could connect. The very fact that away from my mother tongue, which is Tamil, I speak only Hindi on a fluent way, though it helps me to communicate my ideas to you. There is a vast majority of you out there who don't speak English, who don't understand English. I know that. This itself limits the scope, but then I'm trying to reach across cultures. That is why this bridge language is necessary. At least I'm able to talk to you, if you know a smatter of English, a splatter of English, or little English, then I hope you get the gist of the importance of learning your mother tongue, your mother food, your mother culture, and then build on it by learning the connecting elements, which help you to reach out to a wider humanity. Thank you, my dear friend. Stay blessed. stay healthy, stay happy, stay rooted, and I'll talk to you in a week's time with yet another Stream of Thought podcast. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.